Jacob is nonverbal. So this is Jacob's device to give him a voice. He was so happy. It helps children to learn to speak. Given up on speaking. Hey guys, long time no talk. I feel like I haven't sat down and talked to you guys in such a long time. The Christmas and New Year period was insane. What comes with that is school holidays and no preschool days, so I can't actually sit down and film videos for you guys. But luckily today Jordan took Jacob out to the beach, and so I get to talk to you guys. So how are you guys doing? Let me know down in the comments. If you are new here, my name is Jess. I am a autism mum and we record our lives as an autism family. My son Jacob has level 3 autism and I also have a daughter who is just turned 2. Her name is Jazz. If you would like to join our journey and become one of our community members, please subscribe down below. So that brings us to today's video. We are going to be talking about AAC devices, augmentative and alternative communication. So this can come in many forms, but what I'm specifically talking to you guys about today is a device that we are getting for Jacob to give him a voice. If you didn't know already, Jacob is nonverbal. He has said the odd word or two here and there, but he is not speaking yet. We like to say pre-verbal because we are very hopeful that he will speak. But if he doesn't, it's a-okay with us because we just want to find a way we can communicate with him so that he doesn't get so frustrated. It must be so frustrating to not be able to talk to anyone, not be able to get your needs met or your wants met, the message across. So that is the reason why Jacob has so many meltdowns and so many times where he's crying and we can't figure out what it is that he wants. And so we have really dug deep into the world of communication and trying to figure out a way we can communicate with him and a way he can communicate with us. Jacob has been using picture communication in his therapy. However, now we are transferring over to a communication device. Now, to get a communication device, there's a lot of loopholes and ups and downs and forms to fill out and everything like that. So the funding for that takes a while. So we have trialed an AAC device. To be honest, we didn't have it for that long, so we couldn't see how well it would help Jacob, but he did pick up on a few things and it made us more excited to get him a communication device so that we can continue developing that. Before we get Jacob's communication device funded and sent to us, we have an iPad that we have downloaded, Lamp, which is a communication app, and we are starting to give him a voice and it's really exciting. I was watching him in therapy yesterday and the look on his face when he was asking for grapes and they gave it to him and he just did it again and again and again. He was so happy. I wish I recorded his reaction there. But at the end of this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how we are teaching Jacob to use the device. I went over to Instagram and asked you guys to ask me some questions about AAC devices. Just know I'm not an expert, I'm not a professional in any way. I am simply an autism mum who is learning just as probably you are. So with that in mind, let's go ahead with the questions. So question number 1 was, what is an AAC device? So an augmentative or alternative communication device is the systems, devices, strategies, and tools that replace or support natural speech. So it's basically the tools that the person is using in order to communicate if they have difficulties communicating with speech. So in this scenario, we're talking about a communication device. There are different types and maybe I'll go into that at a later date, but I'm going to be talking to you about the specific device. Now, because Jacob hasn't got this specific device yet, he only has an iPad with an app on it, which is basically the same thing. An AAC device is just a bit more durable and made to be used all day, every day. iPads aren't really made to be used continuously all day, every day. That's really the difference. I'll show you Jacob's iPad though. Now, because Jacob's been using it, it's got fingerprints all over it. I probably should have cleaned it before this video, but we're gonna make do. So this is Jacob's device. It's got the protection around it and the glass protector on top of it, just in case he throws it or chucks it on the ground, which he's done before. But this is what it looks like. So on his device, he has very few words to start out with. Eventually we'll fill in and get more words, but I think in order for him to learn how to use it, I think it's simpler and easier for him to learn it with fewer words and just sort of the basic things that he uses. So things that he requires, such as food, so he goes to eat, and then there's dairy, fruit, or Italian, so we'll go to Italian, and then there's pasta.
Pasta.
And it says pasta. There's also stop, if he wants us to stop.
Stop.
And there's also things to do with play.
Play-Doh.
Play-Doh. There are a few other words on the page, but we are just getting Jacob used to it and using things that have big incentives, such as food and toys. If you've gotten this far in the video, comment the star emoji. I'm going to go on to the next question, which is, how do you get an AAC device? So an AAC device, I'm not sure if that question means like where do you buy one or how you can get it funded, which is also another question in here, which is how do you get it funded? So I'm from Australia, so Jacob is part of the NDIS funding scheme. So we are in the process of getting the funding for an AAC device approved by the NDIS. That is a long process, and if you want me to go a bit further into that process, please let me know. As to where you get it from, there's different places across Australia and internationally, companies that sell them. The best place for you to find out that information is to do a quick, simple Google search or ask someone in the autism community where they've gotten communication devices from. Generally, if you're speaking to professionals, they will know where to buy it from. The next question was, is the AAC a last resort? And absolutely not. I think it's a common misconception that AAC devices are the last resort. You've given up on speaking and it is kind of the last thing that you try. I do realize that parents want to do everything that they can to help their child to talk and speak before using a communication device. However, the earlier the better for communication devices. The brain will absorb more information, will learn easier the earlier on that you use the communication device. We were a little bit hesitant on getting a communication device. We really wanted to see whether he would start speaking. However, I don't see any harm in starting an AAC device. The only harm that I see with not having the AAC device is that Jacob is just really, really frustrated. He is very frustrated that he cannot communicate with us, and that is causing a lot of stress on him. And we will do everything that we can to find a way that we can communicate with him. So this is one of those ways, but it's definitely not a last resort. I think a lot of people think it is. If you're thinking about an AAC device for your child, definitely go for it. I think you can try everything that you can, and it's just one of those options. The next question that I got is, will the device keep your child from developing natural speech? This is also a huge misconception with AAC devices, is that children will get used to talking with their communication device and not learn to speak, and it will stop that sort of natural progression of their speech. So there's heavy research saying that this is definitely not the case, and it's actually the opposite. There is research that proves that in some cases, the communication device helps children to learn to speak, and the device does not stop the natural development of speech. So this is another misconception that I believed, and I think a lot of people do believe. There is research that disproves this theory, and I'm very excited to start using the AAC device with Jacob. If you think about it, when he's pressing the button and it's saying the word out loud, he's going to be hearing that word over and over again. He may repeat the word. when the first time he used the AAC device in speech therapy, he pressed stop and he said, stop. So I am a full believer that it will help Jacob with his natural speech progression. I'm very excited to see whether it will help Jacob with his speech, but if not, it's going to be a different way he can communicate with us. The next question is what apps to use. So I've heard of quite a few different communication apps. However, the one that Jacob is using is called LAMP. I'll leave the information here and leave the link down below if you want to use it. They are quite expensive apps to buy, so definitely check whether you can purchase it using your funding. If you're in Australia, from your NDIS consumables budget, but if you're from a different country, definitely check with your funding provider. Other ones that I've heard of is Proloquo to Go, and I know that there are a few free ones that if you wanted to try them just on a family iPad before you go ahead and get a communication device, definitely do that. How long does it take to learn? This is a question I cannot answer. We're obviously at the very beginning stages of getting a communication device and using it, but I think it depends on the child. I think it's going to be different across the board. Some children will pick it up straight away. Some children will take a little while to get used to it. It also depends on whether your child goes through a period of not wanting to use it and goes through a period of really wanting to use it. So it could really be different in different scenarios, but we're hopeful that Jacob will get used to using it in the simplest way. Hopefully this year, even next year. I've heard people say that the first year they didn't have any interest in it and then the next year they did. I am impatient in the way that I want to be able to communicate with Jacob, but I know that it's a learning process and it will take some time, just like anything else. The next question, should we wait and see if they start speaking first? I don't think so. I actually think that the earlier the better. So that was all the questions that I got from you guys over on Instagram. If you aren't following us there, go over there to follow us so you can contribute to videos such as these ones. If you have any other questions, please comment those down below and I'll be sure to get to them as soon as I can. But for the next part of the video, I'm going to be showing you guys how we are teaching Jacob to use his AAC device, which is actually his iPad with the LAMP app on it. You want grapes! Some more grapes? Ask for it.
Grapes.
3 buttons.
You want grapes! Do you want a bowl for them? Yeah. Do you want some more grapes? Okay. Grapes! You want a grape! Do you want to ask for more grapes?
Grapes.
Grapes! You wanted grapes! Look at that smile! Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you haven't already. Join our wonderful community. We're here to support one another. We will see you guys in our next video.